This is the Feelworld FW568. It's a 5.5-inch 1920 by 1080p IPS field monitor, and for being only $100, it's surprisingly packed with features. As a one-man film crew, I can definitely say that it's changed the way I shoot videos. I love my Sony a7 III. It's super compact. It takes great photo and video all in one package. However, when I'm shooting video, the screen preview is really small. At 2 3/4 inches, it's packed with indicators and info, and it doesn't give me much room to check focus or even framing. So it's time for an upgrade. The packaging is actually a bit nicer than I expected. I've ordered other products that are clearly from China, as this one is, and the packaging was a bit underwhelming, but this box is built pretty well and everything feels secure. Inside we've got documentation, including package contents and a manual. It's actually kind of refreshing to not have some promotional marketing material thrown in your face along with the actual thing that you ordered. Below that, we've got the monitor. The packing foam in the box seems to be of a nice quality, and there's not much movement allowed for the monitor. I might have liked just one more insert to keep it from moving vertically, but that's my only note on the shipping so far. For now, we'll set the monitor aside. We'll go into the features in depth more in a minute. Packed under the monitor, we have a monitor shroud, a mounting arm, and a micro HDMI to full HDMI cable. The monitor arm is made of metal and it feels sturdy enough. It attaches to the monitor by thumb screw, and in my opinion, it's a little too easy to move around. The fit isn't quite snug enough. The cold shoe connection to the camera is also kind of lackluster. It's a thumb screw, but it doesn't fit very tightly. You just kind of have to wrench it on since it's metal on metal. An additional rubber or silicone pad would be a really cheap fit that would make this connection much more snug. As a small bonus, there's another cold shoe on the side part of the arm that lets you mount an LED or maybe a microphone to it. The included cable is a decent length and it seems to be of nice quality. However, it's going to be a bit long for our use case. Personally, I won't use the monitor shroud very much, but it attaches via the Velcro type material that surrounds the monitor's edges. I do wish you could remove this Velcro since it's already attached to the monitor out of the box, but it's a small con and doesn't affect the performance. So now let's move on to the main event, the monitor. It is 5.5 inches and it does feel pretty good in the hand. It feels pretty sturdy. However, the entire housing is made of plastic, which makes it feel a bit cheap. We've got 7 buttons on the top, left, right, a menu button, 2 custom buttons that double as up and down navigation in the menu, as well as a 3rd custom button and a power button. The left side has our HDMI in and out ports, as well as a DC power in port. On the right side is our mounting connection, which I believe is a 1/4 inch screw, and on the bottom is a DC power out, an audio, and a USB port. Right out of the box, the monitor looks great. It actually powers on when it senses input from the camera if it's in standby mode, which is a nice feature. The image is plenty bright enough and the sharpness is great as well. I was originally concerned that this sharpness was coming from downscaling my camera's 4K output into the 1920 by 1080p format, but as I switch over to 1920 by 1080 on my camera, the sharpness still is preserved, so that's good. The exposure on the monitor adjusts according to the exposure settings of your camera, which is a really helpful feature. And we've also got some great optional features as well. Histogram is a great option for viewing your image's total exposure, and focus peaking is also a great way to check if your focus is hitting correctly. We've also got a zebra function that's described as overexposure in the monitor, which makes a little bit more sense if you're not someone who's gone to film school or is familiar with the term. That's a good addition to have. A funny note is that the battery indicator in the top right of the monitor is actually marked as overexposed by the zebra function since it's pure white to the camera. Probably the biggest bonus of having a monitor is that it improves the ergonomics of using my camera a lot, since when I'm holding it in my hand, I can be looking more straight ahead where my monitor is now instead of down at my camera when I want to check my exposure or framing. I will say one con is that having this monitor does add a significant amount of weight. I already have a small rig cage and grip mounted on my camera, and once you add a monitor and battery to it, the weight starts to add up pretty quickly. Speaking of the battery, it takes an NP-F970, which I believe is a Sony specification. These batteries are $160 OEM from Sony. So I found these replacement ones from Newer for about $20 each. These batteries are rated at 6,600 milliamp hours, which is slightly higher than the OEM spec from Sony, but I'm not sure how efficiently they will work since they're working with a third-party peripheral, and I haven't worked with the OEM battery before, so I don't have a really good comparison. Regardless, these ones are really great, and they are much cheaper than the Sony versions. So in total, this setup has cost me about $140. $100 got me the monitor, and another $20 got me the battery. I also picked up this cable, which is $10 from SmallRig, that has a micro HDMI input and a full HDMI output that can bolt right onto my cage. I like this part because it adds stability, and I don't want to put unnecessary stress on my in-camera housing, so having it bolted right to the frame is great. I also got two 6-inch full HDMI cables to go from my monitor to this adapter. Those were less than $10. I did pick up some spare batteries, which would bring your cost up, but I think you can get away with having one as long as you stay on top of your charging. One more thing I had to pick up was an adapter plate to charge the new batteries on my Watson battery charger. These were really cheap though, and were 100% necessary since I just wouldn't have the ability to charge these batteries without it. I have to say that I'm really happy with this monitor setup. Going from a small screen to a big screen sounds like something that's insignificant, but in practice it has changed the way that I shoot my video. It's much more convenient. In the grand scheme of things, it's also a pretty affordable solution when you consider the other multi-$100 monitors out there. They can do fancy things like record internally and export 4K, but this thing does what I need it to do, and that's what matters. As always, thanks for watching. Leave your comments and reactions below, and subscribe to see more videos like this. If you would like to find out more about the products I mentioned in this video, I will have some links below that you can use to check out the specs. If you choose to buy the products at those links, it won't cost you anything additional, but it will give a small kickback to the channel that helps support videos like this. Thanks.